Who's all there?
Hello, John.
Howdy, counselors.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me out there?
Yes, sir,
Yes,
we can.
do.
Perfect.
Sure.
Works. Tile, everybody. So it looks like we're missing Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez. Appreciate your patience, ladies and gentlemen. Give us just a few more minutes. We have a counselor that I think that we're waiting on, so that should happen momentarily. Appreciate your patience, ladies and gentlemen. Give us just a few more minutes. We have a counselor that I think that we're waiting on, so that should happen momentarily. Did everybody get that echo?
Yes, sir.
Did.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, let's see if I continue to get an echo. We have His Honor, Senator Richard Martinez. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate it.
He's muted.
Okay, I think I got it now. So thank you, Mayor, members of the council.
Thank you so much. We're, again, if you could indulge us for just a minute, we're waiting on Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez.
I'm in no hurry. I have nowhere to go.
Video está detenido.
All right, I think we got Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez on the meeting. So I believe that we are now prepared. My apologies for the late start for this first meeting, but we're just a few minutes behind. It is now 6:05. I hereby call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
One
under
nation,
God, indivisible, with liberty, justice for all.
Please remain standing. Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar, could you please lead us in this year's first invocation?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. Dear Lord, thank you for bringing this governing body, staff, and constituents together into another year. Please help to guide us in continuing to make the best decisions for our beautiful city and in proceeding forward. Please watch over the world as we all continue to battle COVID. With everything going on in our country, please help to keep everyone safe and peace for the transition to our next president. Amen.
Amen. I'd like us to remain standing for just a second longer. This has been a tumultuous year. There have been many folks in our neighborhood, in our community who have passed. I'd like to give a moment of silence, not only to those who have passed very recently, but throughout the year, as well as for the officer in Washington, D.C. May we all please give a moment of silence for all of those members of our community who are in our hearts and still in our minds. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Ms. Serrano, can we please take a roll call and determine a quorum?
Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar,
Present.
Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez,
Honored to be with you all.
Counselor Justin Salazar Torres,
Present.
Counselor John Ramon Vigil,
Present.
Counselor Manuel J. Martinez,
Here.
Counselor John L. Ritchie,
Present.
Counselor Denise D. Benavides,
Present.
Counselor Dorothy D. D. Valdez.
She is excused for today's meeting. She will not be able to make it today.
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. We'll now move on to the approval of the agenda.
Honorable Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for the approval of the agenda. However, I do have a question regarding the minutes from our last meeting regarding the speed deterrence on Valley Estates. I had asked that this item be moved to this meeting, and I do not see it on our agenda. And then secondly, I believe and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe I was the counsel that made the motion for tabling. The minutes do not reflect that, that I'm aware of. So I'm just curious why that item's not on the agenda. And then secondly, those minute errors.
Okay, so if I hear correctly, we'll remove the December 8th, 2020 City Council meeting minutes from the consent agenda so that we can vote on that independently without it just passing unanimously one way or the other. And I apologize for not placing the item regarding the specific mention that you just talked about. Ms. Serrano had something to add there.
Speaking with Stephen Truehill, our Public Works Director, he was not prepared to present at this meeting.
I appreciate the fact that we weren't prepared, but it still should have at least been on the agenda, given that it was moved and tabled to this particular meeting. So my apologies, Councilor Justin Salazar Torres.
Great, thank you. And I only bring it up because I've had some constituents from Valley Estates. They're very adamant about this subject, so I just wanted it. I don't want them to think we're pushing them off because that's what some individuals think we're doing.
Yes, sir. My apologies. That was an error on my part. I'll make sure that doesn't happen.
I'll go ahead and second, Mayor, with the same concerns that Councilor Torres has just mentioned. I'm curious if anybody else feels that we should be listening to the public hearing first. We always had public hearings first. Those were like the priority of the meeting. So I know that recently we've put them to the last part of the meeting, and I think by that time they've had to sit for a long time waiting for their hearing to be heard. So I'm wondering if anybody else has an issue with us possibly thinking about moving that public hearing to the top of the agenda.
Councilor, I'm glad that you brought that up. I was thinking the same thing myself, given the fact that these poor folks need to be taken care of as soon as possible. So I would entertain a friendly amendment to the approval of the agenda to move the public hearing to just below matters from the city manager.
I would second that motion if the maker of the previous motion agrees.
Absolutely.
So moved, Mayor.
Very good. So we have a motion on the floor with a second, and the motion is to remove the consent agenda from the consent and to move the public hearing from Roman numeral 11 to actual Roman numeral 10. And we have a second for that. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we will take a roll call vote.
Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar,
Yes, for the motion.
Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez,
In favor.
Counselor Justin Salazar Torres,
In favor.
Counselor John Ramon Vigil,
In favor.
Counselor Manuel J. Martinez,
In favor?
Counselor John L. Ritchie,
In favor.
Counselor Denise D. Benavides.
In favor.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you very much. So now we'll move on to the approval of the minutes for the December 8th, 2020 City Council meeting. Councilor Justin Salazar Torres.
If possible, Mayor, again, I'd like to make an amendment to the minutes to reflect I, as a maker of the motion for tabling, because I do not want other councilors to be blamed for the motioning of the tabling. I know that a constituent called me and was very upset with certain councilors that they motioned to table, but I was out front with them and told them I was the maker of the motion to be tabled. So just so the minutes reflect that.
Very good. There's a motion on the floor to accept the minutes with the amendment listing Councilor Justin Salazar Torres as the maker of the motion to table. Do I hear a
Mayor,
second?
second.
Yes, Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez, go ahead for discussion.
Thank you, Mayor. Under discussion, it takes the entire governing body to do something in those chambers or to do something on these meetings. And putting the blame on one counselor for any one thing is sort of it's sort of overshooting our ability to really do things, because we're only one vote of 8 or 9 possibly. So, when it got tabled, we tabled it for the reason that we felt that it was important to get some different ideas from the staff. It's unfortunate that it's not on this agenda at this time, but I would recommend that we make sure that we put it on the next agenda and have the staff come up with the different ideas so that we can move on this situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other councilors for discussion? Seeing none, we'll take a roll call vote for the approval of the minutes with the changes that were so mentioned.
Councilor Denise D. Benavides.
In favor.
Councilor
In favor.
Councilor Manuel J. Martinez.
In favor?
Councilor John Ramon Vigil.
In favor.
Councilor Justin Salazar Torres.
In favor.
Councilor John L. Ritchie.
In favor.
Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez.
In favor.
Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar.
For the motion.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. That having been accomplished, we'll now go on to public comments.
We have no one signed up for public comments.
All right, very good. So now we'll go on to committee chair updates and councilor comments. Councilor Manny Martinez.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, we don't have anything right now for community services. We won't be meeting till towards the end of this month. So we can give an update next month as far as on the community services. But I would like to just say thank you to Senator Richard Martinez for all his many years of service that he's given to Northern New Mexico, and for what he's done for the Espanola Valley, and for all that he's done as a legislature up in Santa Fe. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your service. And I hear you're retiring. I don't know what that means for you, but enjoy it, sir. You well earned. I also wanted to state that I'd like to know what an update is on the pathway shelter. I'm getting a lot of calls and concerns about, of course, the homeless in this area due to the weather, how it's gotten the extreme low temperatures. And I'd like to see what the update is on that. I am under the understanding that Santa Fe County, and again, thank you, Santa Fe County, for the purchasing of the hotel to help pathway shelters with being able to house some of the homeless. But I'd like to know what the update is on that, sir. If they're open up and running, if they're already housing some of the individuals that need it, or if there's an estimated date of when they do plan on opening. I think it's been a long time coming, and I know a lot of people are concerned whether they are up and running or not. And if not, the question is, what is the city doing to help the homeless population during this time where the weather is extremely cold?
Thank you, Councilor. I believe City Manager can maybe answer that along with the help with Mr. Hubler when we get to matters from the city manager, if you're okay with that.
I am fine with that, sir. I'd also like to make a request. This is a brand new year. I want to wish everybody, of course, a happy new year to everybody. But this as a brand new year, and of course, we're still having to meet via Zoom instead of meeting live in person. I would like to make a request to all the city councilors and people that are on our meetings, if you would please show yourselves. I think it'd be a good respect to all the people that are coming in and watching us via the internet. They would like to see their councilors and see the representatives and see us. And I think it shows a little bit of respect for them. And I think now that it's a new year, I think we should, unless you're unable to do that because of the technology you have, that's one thing. But if we're able to, I think we should show ourselves, sir, just like we would if we were in public at City Hall, sir. Just a request. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Much appreciated on that comment there. We'll go next to Councilor Justin Salazar Torres, and then after that to Councilor John Ritchie.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Primeramente, as Councilor Manny Martinez said, Happy New Year, everybody. Hope it's a great one for all of us. Thank you, Uncle Richard, for your wonderful service to your constituents and to your great state of New Mexico. Secondly, public safety, an update on that. We did have public safety, but we did have to cut the meeting very short. We did not hear department reports, but we did ask department heads to speak to us and let us know if they had any concerns regarding their department. We had a little bit of a family emergency, so I had to cut the meeting, unfortunately short, but with our great counselors that are part of public safety, they were very generous in providing that to me. Second, the third thing I've got on here is I know we have Councilor John Ramon Vigil with us, and he's part of the Downtown Action Team. I'd like to thank them for all they did with the lighting competition throughout the city. I think it was a great thing, and not just throughout the city, but throughout our surrounding communities. I think that was great. I'd like to see it continue along with our light parade. Very unfortunate that we couldn't have our light parade, but just a little bit of food for thought. It was nice to get the community together and have everybody driving around during these COVID times to see the Christmas season here in the Valley. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor John Ritchie.
Thank you, Mayor. Like everyone else, I'd like to wish everyone a happy new year. And with all the commotion that's going on nationally, I would like to ask my fellow councilors that we bring civility back home, and let's focus on our community this year and make our constituents a priority. Whatever projects that we need to get done, let's bring them forth. Let's talk about them, and let's show how a city works. And let's work together and be respectful. We normally are. I just want to encourage it to be the example. And God bless you all. And let's have a wonderful year as we get through out of this COVID situation. Again, thank you for all your support, and let's work together and have a great year. Make the best of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any others out there?
Yes, Mayor.
Yes, is it Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez?
Yes, it is.
Go right ahead.
Thank you. So first of all, I'd like to recognize the IGUA 69 International Guard Union of America, which is the union for the security guards of Los Alamos. Their president is Jesus Herrera. Their vice president is Alice Coriz. Their sergeant at arms is Michael Lucero. Their treasurer is John Gomez. Their secretary is David Romero. And trustees are Jean Aldas, Dennis Quintana, and Patrick Baldonado. This is a very special group of men. I've reached out to them concerning the shortage that the soup kitchen would probably have because they were not able to have their annual fundraiser, the Chili Fest that we normally all attend, and Manny usually helps out with. Councilor Martinez, I'm sorry. Anyway, they were very generous in providing the St. Martin's a check for $800 their members of their union last week, and that will go a long way in helping with their general costs that they have for trying to run their facility. I also want to recognize Fiestas de Valle de Espanola, Councillor John Ramon Vigil. Fiesta Corporation is providing $300 to the same cause, St. Martin's de Porres. So we're really excited that these two entities have jumped in and decided to help such a worthy cause, especially in a time where it's so necessary and there's so much food shortage all around us. So again, that's the International 69 Union from the Guard Union of Los Alamos, and I would request formally, Mayor, that we do some kind of official thank you in a meeting, and also to La Fiesta del Valle de Española group for their generosity towards that organization.
All right, very good.
And then I have some other concern. Recently, some issue with the water pressure happened in the Prince Ranch area. So I'd just like to get a little bit of feedback from the city manager as to how that's being handled, and if people have been notified, how they've been notified, and how the city of Espanola is handling it, and what we're doing to make sure that this type of a situation doesn't happen again.
All right, very good. We'll make sure that we take that up as well during comments from the city manager.
Okay, that's fine. I appreciate that. Thank you, Mayor.
You got it. And thank you very much for recognizing those who, are working really hard behind the scenes, and they often don't get recognized. So thank you for bringing that up.
Absolutely.
All right, very good. Seeing no further comments there, we'll now
I do, Mayor.
Councillor John Ramon Vigil, go ahead.
Thank you. I've just been notified. Downtown Action Team will also be pledging $300 to help with the San Martin de Porras Soup Kitchen. So we encourage other nonprofit entities in our valley, if they have the financial means to do so, please consider donating and assisting the San Martin de Porras Soup Kitchen. It's a great cause, and it's important that we as a community come together to help our most in need of help, especially during this time. Thank
Very
you
good.
to date.
Thank you, Councillor.
Mayor, it's Councilor Benavides.
Yes, Councillor Benavides.
Thank you, Mayor. I just also wanted to wish everybody a happy new year. Hopefully this year will be a whole lot better than last. But I did want to mention that I think everybody has pretty much heard now that we had kind of a Secret Santa giveaway. The same group that did the boxes sometime back, and we targeted 3 of the public housing facilities, and learned a lot, actually, that I'm in talks right now addressing some of those facilities that are not non-smoking, number one, and some of the facilities that need cleanup and need work. So I'm addressing those. But I wanted to mention that Santa Fe County is going to honor the entire team for giving children. I think we did over 200 children that we gave gifts to. As soon as I have the date, I'll send it to everybody, because it'd be nice to have representation from the entire council. The other thing that I wanted to mention was that we did have our meeting, myself, yourself, Mayor, Director Jessica, and Ursula, and came up with what we feel is a great start to getting some financial information that not only is important, but that's going to assist all of us in understanding the financial information of the city in a much better format. Hopefully we'll have that soon. Once we do, we'll continue on and we'll have a work session with the committee before we go on to department directors. But I just kind of wanted to mention that as an update. Thank you, Mayor.
You got it. Thank you, Councillor. Anybody else out there in Zoom land? All right, very good. So now that we've got an update and questions from counselors, we'll move on to matters from the mayor. And, beyond the well wishes for a happy new year, please let us make the tidings for, 2021 be positive. Let us bring forth and step forward with an ambition of light and fun and truth and fun again, because I think certainly that has been missing from our lives beyond just the simple hectic day-to-day stuff. We've had a lot of issues that I know that counselors Manny Martinez and John Ritchie really brought forth, and there are a lot of dangling issues that we want to kind of keep in 2020. And please let's try to make this as much fun as we can. I know that just kind of taking a straw poll of some of the counselors, and we ask ourselves, well, why do we do this? What is the real consequence of it when there's so much stress involved and there's not a whole lot of joy? Well, I think we can learn from Senator Martinez, who always brought some positivity. He always had a smile on his face whenever you'd see him at the legislature or even in person, and I think that if anything, we can use that sense of joy, dedication, and real service to our community to say, this is why we do it. Because it's fun, because somebody has to do it, and because these people in the Espanola Valley are deserving of all of our work and all of our attention and focus and commitment.
I already did.
And I think that with that sort of moving forward, we can certainly get all of the things that we want to get accomplished done in 2021. And so on that note, I'd like to thank Councillor John Ramon Vigil for bringing this proclamation to our office and recognizing Senator Martinez, who has given so much of his life, so much of his time, his effort. And we certainly know that, ironically, in politics, sometimes it also costs a lot of money, right? I mean, we have to spend to get places and to do things. And we certainly know that that has not gone unnoticed, Senator. So today, we would like to make an official proclamation of the city of Espanola, New Mexico, on behalf of Senator Martinez. So I'd like to read this first and then perhaps give you some time to speak to us and spread any other words of wisdom that I failed to recognize, Senator. So we'd like to begin with this proclamation. Whereas Richard C. Martinez, the youngest son of Concepcion Conce and Esther Martinez, grew up in the community of Huachupangue and has served the people of northern New Mexico, Rio Arriba County, and especially the Espanola Valley for over 40 years. And whereas Mr. Martinez entered public service at the age of 19, becoming the precinct chair for the Huachupangue and Santa Clara precincts, carrying the concerns and needs of his neighborhood to the Rio Arriba County Democratic Party Central Committee. And whereas Mr. Martinez was elected Rio Arriba County Treasurer in the year 1982, becoming the youngest county official in the history at age 29, where he continued to represent the needs and concerns of our community. And whereas Mr. Martinez was elected Rio Arriba County Magistrate Judge in 1986, serving in that role until the year 2000, where he served on various judicial statewide boards and commissions representing our county. And whereas Mr. Martinez was elected State Senator, District 5, representing Rio Arriba, Los Alamos, Santa Fe, and Sandoval counties in 2000, and went straight to work fighting for the values and needs of the people of his communities for the next 20 years. And whereas Mr. Martinez carried over 600 pieces of legislation during his term of service, including critical legislation such as the Good Samaritan Bill, among others, and most importantly, carrying legislation that protected countless citizens suffering from various ailments, including drug and alcohol addictions, as well as fighting for the services necessary for our senior citizens and veterans. And whereas Mr. Martinez has been recognized by his colleagues in the New Mexico State Legislature for many accolades, including Legislator of the Year Award, the New Mexico Senate Milagro Award, and is often remembered by past governors as El Tigre del Norte, as well for his jolly attitude, kind ways, and warm smile that is truly representative of the Espanola Valley and its people. And whereas Mr. Martinez, always being a valiant supporter of the New Mexico public education system, he has been recognized with the honor and distinction of having the Northern New Mexico College Teacher Education Building named in his honor, as the primary legislative sponsor for the funding of the building, as the Richard C. Martinez Teacher Education Center, And whereas Mr. Martinez retired from the New Mexico State Senate in 2020 after a lengthy record of service to our community, county, and state, and continues to be a beloved member of our valley, where he is appreciated by all for his service to all. And whereas the city of Espanola has been grateful for the contributions and legislative appropriations that Senator Martinez carried forward for our community throughout the years, and therefore, be it resolved by I, Javier E. Sanchez, Mayor of the City of Espanola, together with the members of the Espanola City Council, do hereby acknowledge and recognize the contributions by Richard C. Martinez to our valley and our counties, proudly thanking him for his years of service. So thank you so much, Senator. Again, thank you so much for all the hard work, dedication, the smiles, and please, if you could, we'd be honored by your words.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor Javier Sanchez, Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar, and all the honorable city councilors, the council for the great city of Espanola. You know, it's been one of the biggest honors for me is to serve as your state senator. Totally, it's been an honor for me. To answer Councilor Martinez's question, what am I going to do while I'm retired? Well, I'm going to stay involved, number one. Number two, I'm not going anywhere. And number three, I've been retired actually for 20 years. I retired in December 31st of 2000. But the reality of it is that being a legislator carries so much commitment that it seems like I was never retired. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm on my first month of retirement. I'm totally enjoying it, especially now with COVID. I'm staying home. I'm exercising a lot of my deceased mother's recipes. I'm cooking a lot and probably gaining a little bit of the weight back also. I just wanted to mention that I'm really honored and humbled actually by this proclamation. I really appreciate it. I didn't prepare anything. I kind of thought I was going to prepare something, and then I figured, well, I saw the agenda. I saw that it's pretty lengthy. You've got a long evening, and you probably don't want to hear me ramble on and on about any accomplishments. In particular, I wanted to also thank Councilor John Ramon Bihel for initiating the proclamation. This was when he called me to tell me that you were doing this proclamation. I was really humbled and honored, and it had actually even brought tears to my eyes because a lot of times you do things, and you know that as elected officials, that we put a lot of personal time, effort, love, and concern into a lot of the things that we do. And sometimes some of our efforts just go unlooked or and you know, but that's okay because we do it because we care about the people that we represent. You know, being a state senator in small, in rural New Mexico is not an easy thing, only because the majority of the delegation are in the metropolitan area. So in Albuquerque, they've got half of the legislature that resides in Albuquerque, so they can easily everybody throw in $1 million and do multiple $1 million projects. In rural New Mexico, pretty much you had me and maybe the late Nick Salazar and Representative Debbie Rodela at the time. It was the three of us, and then of course with moving the districts around, we landed up bringing in Senator Cisneros, elect Senator Cisneros, which was one of the best things that I think happened to northern New Mexico, bringing him into large parts of Rio Arriba County. I know that I represented four counties, but it went beyond that. The district also represents 2 pueblos, most of the land grants in the whole state of New Mexico are in Rio Arriba County, and in my district, I had 32 or 33 unincorporated communities, and of course the city of Santa Fe. The county of Santa Fe, the city of Espanola, the town of Los Alamos, and the village of Chama, which were very important to me. So it was kind of difficult to get a lot of projects completed because of the small amount of delegation that we were. I mean, technically, if you incorporate the House member from Los Alamos and one other, and the senator from the west part of Rio Arriba County, we had maybe 6 or 7 members of the delegation. So it was pretty hard to keep everybody happy when you've got all these people that are vying for that same pot of pie. So, but we managed to do it, and I always managed to introduce. I introduced over 600 pieces of legislation in the 20 years that I was there. That doesn't mean that they all got passed, but they got introduced, and a big majority of them became law. A lot of them were controversial. I've always enjoyed introducing controversial legislation, especially if it benefited the constituents, my constituency, which I always proclaim that they are unique, because it's one of the poorest districts in the whole state of New Mexico. And I made sure that the colleagues in the New Mexico State Senate knew that I represented a poor district, and that I was fighting for them. So a lot of the times, by me raising my voice and throwing a little tantrum, made it possible for some of these pieces of legislation to get passed. So I just, again, I want to thank you for the honor of this proclamation, for giving me the honor of serving you as your state senator for the last 20 years. And I want to wish everybody a happy new year. I know it's been a rough time with COVID, but I think that as the community that we are, and the traditions that we have, I think that we can continue forward and beat this. I've got 2020 by the tail, and we're in 2021, and I think that we're going to prevail a lot faster and better than a lot of other communities. So again, I want to thank you for this proclamation, and for the acknowledgement that you're giving me here today. And I want to wish everybody the best and tell you God bless you, and thank you. And I will be around. If you need me, I will be around. I'm just a phone call away. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Senator. You deserve our respect and our gratitude. And if anybody wanted anything to say, now would be a good time. One of the things that I wanted to say was, listening to you speak, I've already learned quite a bit, which is, one, I can't ever expect that everything that I want to pass will actually get passed. And two, to watch out for anybody throwing a tantrum. All right. Well, thank you very much. And we have Councillor John Ramon Vigil, who would like to speak. Go ahead. You have the floor, sir.
You know, it was an honor and privilege to write this proclamation. Senator Martinez has been my lifelong friend since I was a little boy. I worked on multiple campaigns for him. Senator Martinez really carried the heart of Northern New Mexico always, in everything he always did. And he had a heart for public education, especially. I know when I was a regent at Highlands University, Senator Martinez was always willing to bend his ear and listen for a university that wasn't even in his district. That was just his commitment to the excellence of New Mexico, and attaining a better New Mexico, and making sure that, like he just indicated earlier, making sure our most impoverished citizens had access to good quality education, healthcare, and always being a valiant supporter of our veterans and our senior services. So thank you, Senator, for all you did for District 5, and your lengthy legacy and record will always be remembered.
Thank you, Councillor Vihel.
Thank you very much. Senator,
Mayor, it's Councilor.
I'm sorry, who is that? Is that Councilor Benavides?
It is. Thank you so much. I just want to take some time to also thank Senator Martinez, aka Uncle Rich. I think you know how much myself and my family love you and what you mean to us, as does your family. And your commitment and dedication, not just to our state, but to this community, I think will leave a huge, long legacy. I think that there's a lot that can still be done in our community, but what you helped to do, I know will never be forgotten. And for that, I thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, Mayor Pro Tem, Councilor Dennis Tim Salazar.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Yes, Senator Martinez, I also want to thank you very much for all the hard work that you've displayed in any of your elected positions that that you've ever had, and just as a human being. You've always been a champion for our people, and from a huge heart as a magistrate judge to a huge heart as a state senator for our people. You would champion whatever issues may come our way, and because of you, our community is a much better place. And I want to thank you for that, sir. As well as I would always notice between you and Nick Salazar, you guys were like rock stars to the senior citizens around. Everybody would be excited when you guys would walk into a room, and I would see that firsthand. And again, everything you have done, this is work of a lifetime in what you've done. And again, you've helped to better our community, helped to better the entire District 5 and the state as a whole, because I know you worked closely with several other legislators, with past governors, whether they were Democrat or Republican. You've always been a champion, and I just want to thank you, sir. I really appreciate all you've done, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Now I'm glad that I did fight so hard for the seniors, because I'm a senior citizen myself.
Councilor Justin Salazar.
Join the ranks.
Thank you, Honorable.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Uncle Rich, again, thank you for your dedicated service. I do want to make a statement and say your district, this state, will most of all miss your wisdom and your sonority. Thank you, sir.
Gracias.
All right, very good. Senator, thank you so much for your joining us, and we'll see you next time. And when you're wondering what to do with the excess of the food and the recipes, I'm all yours.
All right. Again, thank you. God bless you, and have a wonderful, warm, safe, and healthy and happy 2021. Que Dios los bendiga.
God bless. Thank you. All righty, very good. Now we'll go on to matters from the city manager. So we'll go ahead and take that up, remembering two questions. One, if we could have somewhat of an update on the pathway shelter, and two, water pressure in Prince Ranch.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the governing body. First of all, I want to wish everybody a Happy New Year. Mayor, I'll go ahead and proceed on the first item on the agenda under the city matters from the city manager on the certificate of recognition for employee of the month. And then I'll follow up with the questions on the department report. Before you, we have a certificate of recognition for an employee of the month. As you all know, beginning since last year, we were recognizing individuals that worked for the city that showed a good work ethic and tended to go above and beyond the call of duty. I'd like to recognize Ms. Gail Ortega with the utility services under the wastewater department. Just a quick brief as to why she stood out during a little bit of a crisis that we had within the wastewater department. As some of you may have known, the Public Works Department came up along the watch list with the governor in regards to some positive results with COVID within that department, which hindered some of our employees. At this time, Miss Gail Ortega, being a city employee, a little less than a year, along with our wastewater superintendent, held down the fort while the other coworkers were being quarantined battling with COVID. She stayed strong, showing up to work diligently every day to maintain and provide services to the city, make sure that the plant was operational and running functionally, along with the wastewater superintendent. I'd like to recognize also that she has been with the city a year now. On January 6th, completed her full 1 year with the city. And like I say again, this individual came to the call above and beyond the call of duty in regards to her work, being diligent with her work and showing up to work and doing her job, not only of her job, but of her coworkers that were absent to make sure that the plant was running. If anything, I'd also like to yield the floor to our Public Works Director, Mr. Steven Trujillo, to add a few more words in regards to Ms. Ortega.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the governing body. Yes, Ms. Ortega, when this happened, I spoke with Superintendent Mr. Rodney Talca, and he's like, this woman is a blessing, not only for the wastewater department, but for the entire city. She was helping in the lab with plants, with collections, taking standby for the department, and she really went above and beyond her job duties. And I'm really appreciative that we have employees like that working for the city.
Thank you, Mr. Trujillo. With that said, I'd like to present Ms. Gail Ortega, which unfortunately she's not with us right now, but the certificate for the Employee of the Month for her hard work and dedication to the citizens and staff of the city of Espanola. Thank you, Gail Ortega, if you're listening. And Mr. Trujillo, if you can relay our gratitude to her tomorrow when she reports back to work.
Yes, sir, will do.
Thank you, everybody. Mayor, if you would like me to proceed, I will go ahead with department updates, and I will address the questions that were mentioned from our governing body in regard to some of the concerns. Item number one, first and foremost, Honorable Mayor, members of the governing body, Councilor Justin Salazar Torres, I take full responsibility in that item not being presented on this agenda. Me as a city manager, it's my diligence to make sure that everything is running as it should. So I take full responsibility on that. We will go ahead and move forward on that and present it, I believe, for the next full council meeting with suggestions or other ideas for Valley Estates in regards to the traffic control or to reduce speed on that street. Again, my apologies to you, the governing body, Honorable Mayor, and to the constituents that live off of Valley Estates. Item number two, Pathway Shelter. Honorable Mayor, members of the governing body, Councilor Manuel Martinez. The information that I have on the Pathway Shelter is looking like tentative open date will be February 1st. Tentative improvements have been completed. Fire suppression system hasn't been installed and is awaiting inspection. With that said, I'll yield the floor to Mr. Richard Hubler, our Planning and Land Use Director, that might have a little bit more detail in regards to the Pathway Shelter.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. As was indicated, the tenant improvements have been complete, and they're working on getting the certificate of occupancy from the Construction Industries Division. The last time I spoke with the gentleman in charge of that, he was hoping that would happen next week. They're very eager to get everybody in there. They've been gearing up. Their daily distributions are going really well. There's currently 44 rooms that have been retained by Pathways, both including the 14 or so at Eagle Village across the street, as was discussed on the paper, as well as at other local hotels. That's currently housing about 60 people, including a few families. So they've been providing that service. They were able to utilize money provided to them by Santa Fe County through the CARES Act, over the winter so far, to take advantage of that. And so they're absolutely working in every component of their plan, and even some unexpected ones, with the exception of operating from their own building. And that is imminent. And like I said, within hopefully a couple weeks at the latest, maybe sooner.
Thank you, Mr. Hubler. Also, I'd like to add to that in regards to follow-up question from Councilor Martinez in regards to what the city is doing in regards to the homeless population. So I know that our Community Services Director, Mr. Scott Frost, has been in close contact with Mr. Ralph Martinez, who also represents the Pathway Shelter, looking in how we can assist displaced individuals throughout the city. I know that we've had an issue where these individuals have set up a camp or shelters in different properties throughout the city, near Ranchitos Park, and other different areas. I know that he's communicating with him to see about getting flyers to them and handing out contact information on how they can reach out for assistance. Either, of course, the Pathway Shelter, for the Crisis Center, the Mountain Center, and different available organizations that can possibly help. So I know that, like I say, Mr. Scott Frost is working diligently with the Pathway Shelter organization in regards to that, and also helping clean up certain areas where these individuals have set up camps. Hopefully I've answered those questions so far. I'll go ahead and continue. I'd like to just let everybody know that now for the new year coming in for 2021, the trash punch cards are available at the city. If you are requiring punch cards, please call the city either at 747-6046 or 747-6047 to request your punch cards. I know that the main lobby is closed for now, but if you call, we'll go ahead and mail it to you in regards to the mailing address that we have on file for your account. I'd like to just share that. And the last question that was asked in regards to some concerns is from Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez in regards to a water pressure issue that caused damage along some residents along the North Prince Road. So I believe, and I'll just kind of set a little bit of, give a little bit of a back history in regards to how all this went about. So I believe that the water department responded to a maintenance leak, or a leak that was happening along North Prince. They got there, they were working on it, and when the water was turned back on to provide service, I believe that the amount of pressure that was released affected several residents to their water lines. I know that our Public Works Director, Mr. Steven Trujillo, and our Water Supervisor, Mr. Antonio Chavez, went along that area to make direct contact with some of these residents that were affected. They provided their phone numbers for contact, and also notified to let them know to notify Ms. Sally Baxter, our HR Director, to file a claim for any damages that might have ensued from this water pressure through to any of their equipment or their house. So with that said, they're welcome to call Ms. Sally Baxter if they haven't yet, to file a claim, reporting any of the damages that was caused by this overpressuring of the system to the residents. They can call Ms. Sally Baxter at 747-6017.
CM, if you would entertain a question, we have one being raised now by Councilor John Ramon Vigil.
Yes, go ahead, Councilor.
Thank you, Mayor, Mr. Martinez. I actually was contacted by a lot of constituents down there as well. One of the things that seems to be is I hope we can have some sort of plan for restitution, because some of the residents down there are elderly and live on fixed incomes, and I just hope that we have some sort of a solution to that. I understand also that one of our city employees met with one of the residents down there and indicated, well, and this is something probably we can talk more in detail, but I just wanted to get it communicated out there, was the city would later credit them after they've already done the expenses. And this individual indicated to me it was very hard for them, because they live on a fixed income, to even come up with the funds to do their repairs. And it damaged not just the water heater itself, but the water heater's overflow damaged the whole area around, and the house is adobe. And now she's concerned about mold penetration in the home. So I just really believe that this is a serious issue. I hope that we as a city do our best to help these residents down there and get a good proper solution. And I hope whatever happened right now with this overburdening of the pressure on the system never happens again. It's burdened a lot of people, and I think Councilor
Councilor,
Martinez.
if we could just maybe take some of those very specific issues offline, so that way we can kind of continue with that and continue with your comments, but make sure that we finish the rest of that off of line.
Yeah, okay. Counselor, City Manager Martinez, if you could get me and Counselor Martinez an accurate list of the people that staff has compiled and to believe that have been impacted by this, I think that would be really good to make sure that that corresponds with what we've been notified.
Yes, absolutely, Councilor John Ramon Vigil. We can definitely most certainly do that. Compile the list if that has not been already created, and get it to you and to Councilor Martinez.
All right, very
Thank
good.
you, City Manager.
All right, thank you very much for the update and questions. And of course, as always, councilors, whenever we have any issues or questions or anything like that, please feel free to reach out to the city manager ahead of time. We don't have to wait for city council meetings and stuff like that. Those matters are urgent, so let's get those to him as soon as possible so he can fix that for us. All right, very good. Moving on the agenda, we will go next to the public hearing. We have an application for a beer and wine liquor license. The license with on-premises consumption only from the State of New Mexico Regulations and Licensing Department, Alcohol and Gaming Division. We have an applicant, La Fonda del Sol, LLC, doing business as La Fonda del Sol, located at 233 North Paseo de Oñate, Espanola, New Mexico, 87532. The application number is 117-4709. First, we will have the presentation by Interim City Clerk, Ms. Angelica Serrano, and then we will go on to the public hearing, and we'll go in that order. Thank you. Ms. Serrano, please.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the governing body. The Clerk's Department received an application for a liquor license from the New Mexico Regulation and Licensing Department on November the 18th, 2020, for La Fonda del Sol LLC, located at 233 North Paseo de Oñate, formerly Anthony's at the Delta. The applicants, Maria Guadalupe Lopez Espino and Juan R. Maldonado, are seeking a restaurant, beer and wine license with on-premise consumption only. Liquor license applications require that a public hearing be held within 45 days of receipt of the notice of application and that a public notice of public hearing be issued twice beginning at least 30 days prior. The Clerk's Department published notices through the Rio Grande Sun on December the 17th and December the 24th, 2020, as well as a notice on the City of Espanola website. We did have to request an extension due to the holidays from the New Mexico Regulation and Licensing Department. We were granted this request. And let me see where I'm at. Planning and Land Use Director Richard Hubler performed a zoning determination, GIS analysis, and field inspection and considers this location to be in compliance with the zoning regulations of the City of Espanola and the New Mexico State regulations regarding the location of licensed premises in relation to churches and schools. Ms. Lopez Espino and Mr. Maldonado are both with us via Zoom with an interpreter to answer any questions that you may have.
We'll now move on to the hearing and then answer any questions after that, if that is all right. So the time is 7:01 p.m. I am hereby opening this public hearing. Is there anybody out in the audience that would like to speak either for or against the liquor license application? We have plenty of time and we want to make sure that everyone who would like to speak has that opportunity to do so. Anyone speaking in favor? This is also an opportunity for anyone speaking against. I see a hand raised by Mr. Earl Wright. Go ahead, sir. Mr. Wright?
Yes, just unmuting. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now, sir.
Yes, I just wanted to speak in favor of this application. I realize these are sometimes controversial. However, our local businesses are struggling at this point in time. And this is a classic venue within the city of Espanola. And again, not to take up too much time, I just wanted to speak in favor of awarding this liquor license.
Thank you, sir. And once
Thank
again,
you.
Could you state your full name for the record, please?
Yes, my name is Earl Wright, and I am reside at 203 Lower San Pedro in the city of Espanola.
Thank you, sir, for your comments today. We appreciate it. Is there anybody else out there that would like to speak either in favor or in opposition? Madam Interim City Clerk, do we have anybody?
No, sir.
All right. I believe we have given ample time. It is now 7:03 p.m. I am hereby closing the public hearing portion of this meeting.
Honorable Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you very much. We have a motion for approval from Councilor Justin Salazar Torres with a second from Councilor Manuel Martinez. For discussion, do we have anything out there?
Under discussion, Mayor?
Before that, Councilor, we have a hand raised from Councilor John Ramon Vigil. Go ahead, and then
Sure.
we'll go to you, Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez.
Thank you, Mayor.
I'll allow Councilor Martinez to go first.
Thank you, Councilor Vigil. I appreciate that. I just wanted to say that, you know, the downtown area is an area that I really want to see revitalized. And I've heard a lot of really great comments about the restaurant and their food. And of course, we all know what a beautiful building they're in and how nice of an area that is. So I think it's important that we do whatever we can to push that revitalization of the downtown area. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor John Ramon Vigil.
I just I want to follow up on that, you know, as a resident of the area, and I'm really excited about this. It's a great restaurant. It's unfortunate, you know, right before COVID, they opened up, and I've been really pleased to have them as a neighbor. And I think it brings a wealthy addition to the west side and looking for an eatery. So thank you guys, and I hope that you guys can continue to stay open for many more years to come.
Councilor Justin Salazar Torres.
Thank you, Mayor. And I think it's very proper. I think I saw on social media to wish them a happy 1-year anniversary. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I would also like to wish La Fonda del Sol a great 1-year anniversary. I've been to the restaurant. I think the food is great. I know them personally, and I think the Maldonado family is a very good family, and I feel they are very responsible. And I feel it's gonna, you know, just the location in itself, I think this will do well for the west side of the city of Espanola, and I am for this. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Do we have any other comments out there for discussion? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and take a roll call vote. The motion on the floor is for approval of application with a from Councilor Justin Salazar Torres with a second from Councilor Manny Martinez. Ms. Serrano?
Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar.
For the motion.
Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez.
In favor.
Councilor John L. Ritchie.
In favor.
Councilor Justin Salazar Torres.
In favor of the motion.
Councilor John Ramon Vigil.
In favor of the motion.
Councilor Manuel J. Martinez.
For the motion.
Counselor Denise D. Benavides.
In favor.
Motion carries.
Felicidades. Muchas gracias. All right. We'll now move on to the next item on the agenda, Roman numeral 10, items proposed for council consideration, discussion items, and action items. First, we have a resolution 2021-1, a resolution to request a contract time extension for the grant funding awarded through the New Mexico Department of Transportation contract D18282. We have a presentation by Grants Manager, Ms. Diane Hawkes.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the governing body. I'm here respectfully requesting approval of Resolution 2021-01. This resolution would facilitate a contract extension on D18282. And this contract is for funding provided to us from NMDOT for road projects. This contract set to expire 12/31 of 2020. The paperwork is at NMDOT for contract extension and everything is good. They are basically just waiting for the resolution.
Motion to approve, sir.
Second the motion.
Thank you very much. We have a motion from Councilor Manny Martinez with a second from Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar for discussion.
Under discussion, Mayor.
Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. So, Ms. Hawkes, this funding is part of the funding that deals with the street that we wanted to fix in Eliano, correct? Calle Redondo?
Yes, Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez, you are correct that this is part of the funding.
And there's other sources of funding that are tied to that same project, correct, that we've already extended?
Absolutely. So there are multiple awards that will be used for the project because not one award will cover the costs in its entirety. So we will be several different awards together to cover the project.
Okay, so the whole entire amount is for Calle Redondo, or there will be some left over, or we're not sure yet?
We're not sure yet. However, I would imagine there will be some left over, and at that point, they can, determine what other streets we might be able to do some work on based on the amount of funding we have left over.
Yeah, it would be good if we had a little something left over to provide some patchwork to the rest of the community. Absolutely. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any other questions or comments out there? Very good. Seeing none, we'll take a roll call vote with a motion being entertained by Councilor Manny Martinez, I believe, with a second from Mayor Pro Tem. Do I have that correct?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Ms. Serrano?
Counselor Denise D. Benavides.
In
Counselor
in favor.
Counselor Manuel J. Martinez.
For the motion.
Counselor John Ramon Vihil.
For the motion.
Counselor Justin Salazar Torres.
For the motion.
Counselor John L. Ritchie.
In favor.
Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez.
In favor.
Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar.
For the motion.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We'll move right along to letter E, approval of expenditures over $25,000. The Espanola Firehouse number 1 remodel at $687,491.07, funded by capital outlay to plan, design, and build renovations per plans dated 4/13/2020. Presentation by Ms. Hawkes again.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the governing body. I'm here this evening presenting this expenditure to facility build that we are interested in pursuing. And this is for the plan, design, and construct of fire station storage addition. These facility improvements will allow additional storage space for the ladder truck and other apparatus that the fire department uses that currently is not housed under sheltered facility, if you will.
Motion to approve, sir.
Second.
Thank you very much. We have a motion for approval from Councilor Justin Salazar Torres with a second from Councilor Manny Martinez for discussion.
Under discussion, Mayor.
Yes, Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez.
Thank you. So Ms. Hawkins, when you say plan, design, engineer, and build, the one company is responsible for all phases of that?
Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez, yes, yes, ma'am, they are. So with facility build, once they complete design, let's say for conversation purposes, the city chooses not to have them construct the building, then we would be responsible for paying them for design and engineering services, because we will have stamped plans at that point.
So that's my question, because when you have a company that does step 1, 2, and 3, normally the city of Espanola would talk to an engineering firm that we have on contract. We would ask them to come and engineer what we're looking at or what we need, and then they would give us the plans with a cost analysis. And that cost analysis is what I believe is very important, because that will tell you what we should be paying for this facility. If I'm correct, is the building 40, what is it here? Hold on, let me look at it. Let me blow this up because of my old eyes. It's almost 50 by 32. Is that correct?
That sounds about right. Yes.
Okay, so without cost analysis from an engineering firm, you're left to allow that company to figure out what we want and how much they can make on it. And you're talking about 50 times 32 gives us a 1,600 square foot building. And then you divide that 647,000 by, divide that by that 1,600, and you're looking at over $400 a square foot for storage. And there's where it trips me up, because this is a CES contract, correct?
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
So the city of Espanola never created their own scope of work. We went strictly on the design that the company created, correct?
Councilor Martinez, I believe either Fire Chief Ron Padilla, General Services Director Jeff Sargent, and possibly even Deputy Chief Tafoya were initially involved in the design of this. So I know for sure Jeff was working directly with the person at Facility Build with regard to what the needs were for the fire department, as were DC Tafoya and now Fire Chief Padilla.
I understand that they need the storage. I get that part, but I cannot see paying $400 a square foot for cold storage and anywhere. I mean, to me, that's very, very high on that bid. I don't agree with using the CES. I've been very vocal about this as a governing body member. We're not providing the best cost efficiency for our constituency on behalf of the constituency. When you don't allow a separate entity to do the planning, there's no real cost analysis coming from that entity. So what happens is you don't have diligence in ensuring that the city has contracted, engineered, and cost analysis and competitive procurement process for the deal. The way that this is presented on our agenda, I also have an issue with. I mean, you're not telling me at all what we're paying for. You're just giving me the design, basically. There's no breakdown of it. It's not telling me what it includes, what it doesn't include. There's very, very little information in our packet concerning what this is. The RFP is written out to Jeff Sargent, which nothing against Mr. Sargent. We appreciate everything he does for the city, but I don't believe that he is certified procurement officer. I mean, I really feel like we need to use our procurement department. We need to get the best deal we can possibly get. Yes, this is state funding. Yes, we want to spend it. Yes, we need the storage. But gosh, can you imagine if you're a contractor in the city of Espanola and you didn't even get an opportunity to bid this out? I'm sure there's plenty of contractors that have not had work during this COVID situation that would have jumped on this, and that money could have stayed here in our community. So these are all issues that I have with it. I'm not trying to be difficult, as somebody would say, or some people have said. I'm just bringing facts to the table that this presentation on our agenda does not do what it's supposed to do in giving the public information and giving the governing body information. I appreciate all the work you do for us, Ms. Hawkes. I know that you're working very hard, and I'm not trying to say that you're not, but I do have concern about the cost being over $400 a square foot for cold storage. Thank you.
Ms. Hawkes?
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez. At this point, if I could, I'd like to defer to Jeff Sargent regarding the project.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the governing body, Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez. The building that we are looking at is, as you said, is a design concept for what we are looking at doing or attaining to be able to create climate controlled storage facilities for the remainder of our equipment that has not met the state requirement for us to have those in an enclosed environment. I do understand your thoughts and your concerns with the cost per square foot based on what you are seeing here. We did get a soils report by Geotest, who is an independent firm that we did pay to get this work accomplished. And what they found is the materials or the core materials underneath where we would be building this building or expansion, this 1,600 square foot expansion, does need some work based on the soils report. It is not stable enough to support a building that will be heated, plumbed, and concrete work completed with access doors and accessibility for our staffing. That is all the information I have at this point. I have been working with Facility Build, and we did do a agreement with them during the last year that we would be going through their services, but we do have the option that if we did not go with their recommendation for construction phase, that we would have to pay, I believe it was 3 to 6% for their services. And at that point, we could go out for bid. That is all the information I have.
Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez has a follow-up question. Go ahead.
Yes, Mayor, thank you so much. So my follow-up really deals with the planning and zoning side of this. I'm curious if the city would have to get its own variance, being that we're up against that, up against the right-of-way there on going into the Martinez Center.
We do have Richard Hubler on the call, if you wouldn't mind.
The building seems like it's encroaching on that right away, so I'm just curious about that. If he could answer that, please.
Absolutely. Mr. Mayor, members of the governing body. Our office began discussions with both the fire department and the general services department approximately a year ago around some of those considerations. The site plan that is here does meet both the technical requirements of the city, as well as we discussed some ideas around potentially, maintaining the circulation of that site specifically for the senior center. There's no legal concerns, though. We don't have to get a variance or anything like that to build this building as proposed. There's a couple easements in the area, and this site plan dodged those.
Thank you, Mr. Hubler. I appreciate that.
And now we'll go to Chief Ron Padilla.
Yes, Honorable Mayor, Honorable Councilors, Honorable Peggy Sue Martinez. I did go over, as Jeff mentioned, the geological survey, and it has to be extensive dirt work on this project. They're going to have to remove and replace anywhere from 3 to 5 feet, as well as be very careful on how they're removing the dirt up against our existing building so it doesn't shift. It's the dirt that they're saying there will shift. So they got to be very, very careful how they're preparing for it and adding the dirt back into that's engineered. Any questions?
I have a follow-up.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, Counselor, and I believe that's why the price on what we're looking at is kind of extensive. I'm not an engineer. I just read the report. I'm sorry, Counselor.
So follow up, Mayor?
Yes, of course.
Thank you. So, Mr. Padilla, the geological study, Mr. Sargent just stated that you got it yesterday or this morning. Is that correct?
I read it this morning. That's when I received it. And yeah, that's the information that I'm giving you.
See, these are my points that we don't even know what's included in this. We have no idea from the information that we got on the packet what all is included. We have the set of drawings, we have the plans, we have the total amount, we have the tax amount, we have that, but we really don't have very much information as to what all is included. I am very concerned that they're going to be digging out dirt where the footings for that existing building are. That's concerning. Very concerning.
Oh yeah, very, very much so. That's why it is prepared in that geo survey on what would need to be done to that property. And I would like to apologize to you, Counselor, and to the other counselors and Mr. Mayor. This is my first time on actively participating in a build like this. I am learning as I'm going. I take full responsibility for not presenting that information, and I will definitely look into our next project in more detail and make sure I do have that type of information that is required, or any information that you guys would like to have. You're more than welcome to call me at any time. I'm available to you guys at any time at your convenience, and I'd be more than glad to go over this with you and provide you with all the information that I have that I've been working with Jeff and Diane on.
One more question.
I apologize. Yes, ma'am.
Chief Padilla, so what we're being presented with, correct me if I'm wrong, is plans for a metal building, correct? Metal siding.
It is plans for a metal building.
Okay.
That is going to have a bay. It's going to be facing the west. So we can put in a fire truck on another bay. And then there's going to be room for another fire truck that is going to enter on I believe on the north side, and we can put either another fire truck in there, or we can put several brush trucks in there. And that's what we're trying to accomplish, is to have our fire trucks where we need them. We have several of them, as well as our operational, special operationals trailers, our hazmat trailers at Carter Ranch and Prince Ranch, and also at Hunter Ford. Hunter Ford has already been broken into a couple of times, and what we have to do is take all our very, very expensive equipment off those trucks, put them in storage at the main station, and then put the truck out there and park trucks as close as we possibly can to the door, so they can't take the equipment that is on there. And according to the State Fire Marshal's office, all our trucks and equipment have to be housed. And they're housed now, but they're not in climate control buildings. So there's a lot to this. And again, I'd like to apologize that I didn't have the information that you were requesting. But the next time a project does come up like this, I will make sure that that is on there. And again, I apologize.
Excuse me.
For further clarification, we have Jeff Sargent, who wanted to say something.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Councilors, Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez, regarding the information in the packet that you did not receive the cost breakdown that was sent to us. And this was not just sent to us yesterday, as was the soils report. Chief Padilla is telling you that he received the soils report from me on the date that he mentioned. I have had this soils report, and we had the cost breakdown probably since August of last year. And we had gone through it, and we had put it kind of on a hold due to funding issues or thoughts of possible funding issues. And then when we found the funding that would cover it based on the increased cost due to the soils report, that's when we decided to put this on the agenda. But as far as the breakdown, that would be a failure on my part, not Chief Padilla's or Diane's. I should have gotten that information to them so we could have had this submitted in the packet. If possible, maybe we could table this event to the next council meeting, and I should have the information for you. That way you have full time to read it and go through it and see what the cost breakdown is.
I have to go to Councilor Justin Salazar next.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Question, is there a deadline or a sunset on this before we end up losing it?
Councilor Salazar, we did just execute this contract now in October. It's not actually set to expire until 2024. However, there is a little bit of a press for time, because we do need to encumber at least 5% of this funding to ensure the state that we're serious and that we're ready to proceed with this project.
No. Okay, follow up. I just want to make sure that we don't lose out on anything, because especially the predicament that our state's in right now, want to just make sure we don't lose out on any money. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Follow up, Mayor.
Yes, Councilor, go ahead.
See, there's another issue that we should have considered, utilizing an engineering contractor to give us the planning for this building and the cost estimates for building this building. And we would have encumbered that 5% immediately, and it would have shown the state that we were serious about this. So there's another reason for utilizing the proper protocols to do these things.
I'll just interject a little bit. I think somebody is speaking to pet or something like that, if we can just put that on mute. I think this still is a proper protocol. I wouldn't want to say that this isn't in any way. I would also entertain the fact that these are engineering specs and the pricing is included, and it does have the pricing for everything that we would be getting. So I'm not fully convinced, I should say, that this packet doesn't have all of the information we need. It has a price that includes geologicals. It has a price that includes architectural plans and engineering specs in order to build up this facility. It says what will be included in terms of electrical, mechanical, physical, as well as grading, as well as entry and exit. So we have a full price with all of our mechanical and engineering specs, along with visuals for what it's going to look like when it's done. So I would, in a friendly way, argue that this packet does give us everything that we need in order to make a decision based on whether or not to use the state funds for the packet material that was provided. So do we have any other discussion? We have Councilor John
I'll make
Ritchie.
a motion to table,
We
Mayor.
have Councilor
until the
John
next
Ritchie has
meeting.
the table. Has the floor.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Councilor
When was
Ritchie, go ahead.
I can't remember what meeting we approved. We discussed utilizing facility build over conventional of individual engineering, putting it out to bids to different contractors, because they were contracted through the state. And we discussed that this was a price option for it would give us a better price in doing this. So we already approved this as a council.
Ms. Hawkes, if you can correct us in that this agenda item is simply to approve the greater than $25,000 bid.
That's all.
We didn't approve the whole thing. We approved the design portion of it. That's what we approved.
We approved utilizing facility build for the whole process.
If we didn't choose that as a,
if we optioned out, we knew we had to have to pay a higher fee in the design process if we optioned out. But our initial was to go forward with them on the complete project.
I disagree with you respectfully, Mr. Ritchie. I feel like we agreed that we would go with design, and then we would look at what they designed and go from that point forward. I never felt like we agreed that we would go ahead and allow somebody to design it and give us whatever price we wanted without not even knowing a price. Why would we do that at that point? We didn't know it was going to cost $647,000. You're talking about $750,000 on this situation for 1,600 square feet. I'm sure that that could be built relatively cheaper, to be honest with you. But you know, I'm not happy about the way it was presented. I realize
Jeff Sargent who has something to say that may add some.
I have the floor, Mayor.
Mr. Sargent. Jeff.
Wow.
I'm sorry. Excuse me, Councilor Martinez, Mayor and governing body. One of the main reasons that we had decided to go with facility build was due to the fact that we had had numerous issues with some of our contracted engineers that we had at the time. Not so much the one was Wilson and Company. I'll just put that out there. We had numerous issues with them for the City Hall expansion. and for the project up on Industrial Park Road for the Sportsplex. That's why I had been given direction at that time to look for another option to where we could go with a design build firm to where we could get this project designed, engineered, and constructed and try and save the city money because the processes that had been used in the past had failed. Based on that, that's the direction that I went. And I leave it up to you. It's up to you folks to decide. I just give you information.
The last comment that I'll make is when you do finally get somebody who responds and actually goes through the work of giving you the specs, engineering, and everything else, and is ready to start work, you kind of just let them in the door to get started and get working on what needs to happen. But everybody has and is entitled to their own opinion on that. But we also know how hard it is to get construction work done. So we've had multiple discussions, but yet no motion on the table. Or motion on the floor.
You do have a motion on the table, and I also motion for consideration of tabling this issue to the next meeting.
Okay, and just to double check, we did have an original motion on the floor from Councillor Justin Salazar Torres, who motioned to approve, and then we had a second from Councillor Manny Martinez. During that discussion, we had Councillor, are you making a formal motion to table?
Yes, I am, sir.
Okay, so you're making a formal motion to table to a
Second.
specific date? And that is a second from Councillor John Ramon Vigil.
Yes.
Do you have a specific date in mind, Councillor? The next meeting is on the 26th of January.
I have no issue with that. Thank you.
All right. First, we will take a motion on tabling, whether we wish to table this event or move forward. We will take a roll call vote on whether or not to table.
Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar,
Against the motion.
Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez,
In favor?
Counselor John L. Ritchie,
Against the motion.
Counselor Justin Salazar Torres, Counselor John Ramon Vigil,
For the motion.
Counselor Manuel J. Martinez,
Against the motion?
Counselor Denise D. Benavides,
Mayor, just for clarification, we're trying to table to the next meeting for additional information. Is that correct?
I honestly don't have an answer to that. There wasn't a specific reason for it.
Okay.
Yeah, to allow for the council to receive a complete cost breakdown. Thank you.
Oh. For the motion.
Counselor Justin Salazar Torres,
Against the motion.
So the motion fails. We'll now go to the original motion on the floor, which was to approve the expenditures over $25,000. We'll take a roll call vote.
Counselor Denise D. Benavides,
Counselor, are you still on?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Against the motion.
Counselor Manuel J. Martinez,
For the motion?
Counselor John Ramon Vigil,
Against the motion.
Counselor Justin Salazar Torres,
For the motion.
Counselor John L. Ritchie,
For the motion.
Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez,
Against the motion.
Counselor Dennis Tim Salazar,
For the motion.
The motion carries. We'll now move on to letter F, Resolution 2021-2, a resolution concerning the governing body meetings, committee meetings, and public notice required. We have a presentation by Interim City Clerk, Ms. Angelica Serrano.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the governing body. Before you is Resolution 2021-02, which is a resolution concerning governing body meetings, committee meetings, and public notice requirements. This is presented annually as it is required that each municipality maintain a current resolution that can be referenced by the Attorney General's office as it verifies compliance with the Open Meetings Act.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion for approval from Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez and a second from Councilor Manny Martinez for discussion. Seeing no discussion, we'll go straight to a roll call vote.
Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar.
For the motion.
Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez.
In favor.
Councilor John L. Ritchie.
For the motion.
Councilor Justin Salazar Torres.
For the motion.
Councilor John Ramon Vihil.
For the motion.
Councilor Manuel J. Martinez.
For the motion.
Councilor Denise D. Benavides.
For the motion.
Motion carries.
Very good. Thank you very much. We'll now go on to Roman numeral X, letter G, consideration for proposed overtime agreement between the Espanola Police Department and Protos Security, Lowe's, presented by Chief Roger Jimenez.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, honorable counselors. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Happy New Year, everybody. So before you have the overtime agreement between the Espanola Police Department and Proto Security that we began last year. And so we're planning on trying to renew and update this MOU so we can continue to do so and continue to provide security for this next year. I stand open for any questions.
Motion to approve, sir.
Second.
We have a motion for approval from Councilor Manny Martinez and a second from Councilor John Ritchie for discussion purposes.
Under discussion, Mayor?
Yes, Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief, for your presentation on this issue. I just wanted to reiterate the subject of being a little short of officers at this time and being quarantined with some other officers and being a little short-staffed. So I just wanted the chief to touch base on basically how he's handling that and if this contract would affect that situation at all. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the governing body, Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez. Thank you for the question, ma'am, and the concerns. You're absolutely right. We have been continuing to struggle with this COVID pandemic, much like the entire nation. But we have a great group of officers that, you know, anytime somebody's down, we all kind of step up. And right now, what Protos understands is that if we cannot man or we cannot place an officer to the Lowe's, they understand that is not our priority. Our priority is responding to calls for service. We also have, I believe, 5 or 6 vacancies that we're filling. We also have a couple of internal positions that we're filling. And I believe we have, last I checked, 16 applications to fill those vacancies. So now it's just a matter of testing and getting those positions filled as soon as possible. As you know, the COVID has created and wreaked havoc on the testing process and everything else. But I have no doubt in my mind that we can fill those vacancies within the next couple of months.
Thank you. Do we have any other councilor comments or questions? Seeing none, we'll go to a vote after we had a motion for approval from, I believe it was Councilor Manny Martinez, and a second from Councilor John Ritchie.
Counselor Denise D. Benavides,
In favor.
Counselor Manuel J. Martinez,
For the motion?
Counselor John Ramon Vijel,
In favor.
Counselor Justin Salazar Torres,
For the motion.
Counselor John L. Ritchie,
In favor.
Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez,
Also in favor.
Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar.
For the motion.
Motion carries.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And we'll go right back to Chief Jimenez. We've got next the Department of Justice Body Armor Grant Award.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the governing body. So before you, you have the Bulletproof, Patrick Leahy Bulletproof Vest Partnership. It's a grant that we tasked Lieutenant Trujillo to try to obtain for us. And what this does is they offer us money to not only replenish bulletproof vests, but also reimburse us for any vests that we had purchased within the last fiscal year from 2020. We were trying to get the full amount of 21,000, I believe. We were generous to get the $10,789.20. So I'm open for comments or questions.
Motion to approve, sir.
Second, sir.
We have a motion from Councilor Justin Salazar Torres for approval with a second from Councilor Manny Martinez for discussion. All right, very well. Seeing none, we will go to a roll call vote.
Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar,
For the motion.
Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez, Counselor John L. Ritchie,
In favor.
Counselor Justin Salazar Torres,
In favor.
Counselor John Ramon Vijel,
In favor.
Counselor Manuel J. Martinez,
For the motion?
Counselor Denise D. Benavides,
In favor.
Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez,
She's still on.
Yeah.
All right.
Motion carries.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good evening, sir.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we have reached the end of our agenda. And it is in fact the case. Very good. It is now 7:50. Go with God. Thank you very much. Have a good night, everybody. This meeting is
Good
now
night.
adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Good night.